It is Greg Milby, Kentucky's Heartland at kentuckysheartland.com. Thank you for joining us. We are talking today with some distinguished gentlemen. And I'm not using that term loosely at all because I really mean that. We got some great guys in the room with me. Joe Prather is with me, also Tom Clark, and Mr. Jim Deneen, the real Deneen.
You're right.
You're right, because now, you know, Matt's trying to make a run in life over here, and so we've got to say the real Deneen. Right?
That's it.
All right. So we're here to talk about a great event. I thought it was the 52nd year, but I was wrong. The Brotherhood Banquet has been going on, Tom, for 54 years now?
54 years. It began in 1965.
All right. So how did this come about?
Well, there were two gentlemen in 1965 that were great friends. Bill Harris was a member of the Rysock Shrine Club and president of their club. My dad, Tom Clark Sr., was Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus, which is the equivalent of president. And the two of them were wonderful friends. And over a cup of coffee one morning, they decided, you know, we're going to do something for Kosar Charities. And we're going to call it the Brotherhood Banquet. And we're going to get the two organizations together and make this happen. And all the funds we raise will go to Kosar Charities.
Wow. So how much money over the years have you guys, has this organization raised?
Well, the early years, the record keeping was not very well done. And but in recent years, I can tell you that to this point in time, and I don't have the exact figure, but somewhere around $750,000.
$750,000. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
It goes a long way helping kids out.
And you think it happened because two friends got together 54 years ago and said, let's do something.
Yeah, I'm sure they had no idea that we'd get to this point we're at now.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's this weekend.
This weekend.
This Saturday.
March 9th, down at Pritchard Community Center.
Okay.
The doors will open at 6 o'clock. Dinner will be at 7. We'll follow it with a charity auction and then a small program.
Okay.
And so all the monies we raise that evening will go directly to Kosar Charities for their activities that they do for kids.
So tickets, how much are tickets?
$40 per person.
Mm-hmm.
Nice catered meal by back home, and we're looking forward to a wonderful event.
And you could buy a table too, right?
You can buy a table. We have a reserve table.
Mm-hmm.
$500. We'll get that for you, and it'll be there with a reserve seat name placard on there for you and a table of 8.
All right, Jim. So we've also got, I think, a very unique opportunity as well. You guys are going to be raffling off a freezer full of Angus beef.
Yes, we are.
All right. So what do they need to do, and what do they need to know about that? I mean, Angus beef, it could be a real small cow or it could be a big cow. How much are we talking about here?
What we got, Tom? About 200 pounds, somewhere in that
It's
neighborhood.
at least that. I don't have an exact figure because they haven't filled the freezer yet.
Okay, there you go. But and I think it's interesting because it also includes delivery within 30 miles of E-Town.
30 miles.
Exactly does, yes.
Are you going to do the delivery? You going to load it in your pickup truck and bring it, or is somebody going to do it?
No, the gentleman that we're getting it from, he's going to deliver it to the winner.
Okay.
And it's $10 a ticket.
All right. So is it just? Is there a program involved with this as well, or is it? You know, is a meet and greet before, and then you have your dinner at 7,
Right.
and then you kick everybody out. What do you
No,
what do you do?
No.
We the doors will open at 6, and there is a social hour then. We have some activities to raise money during that hour, and then we'll have dinner, and after that dinner is a short program that will be the Master of Ceremonies for that will be Keith Inman. He is the CEO of Kosar Charities.
Oh, okay.
They will also have several other representatives here. And after that program, and there'll be a presentation from someone within the community as how they were helped in some way, shape, or form by Kosar Charities.
So did they select that, or did you guys select it? Because
Well,
I'm sure there are a large number of stories.
Actually, I'll tell you that I've been speaking with Tracy Trout over at Heart Memorial Health Foundation, and they have been the recipient of a couple of grants from Coast Charities for the newly founded NICU.
Okay.
And I'd hate to throw a number out, but it's in excess of $200,000 over the last 3 years.
Wow.
So that, that it's kind of a proof positive thing that the money that we raise through this event does come back to Hardin County and the surrounding areas, and not just for a unit like this, but any child that's in need of assistance for medical bills or assistance in some other form. Coast Charities is there for them. All they need to do is contact myself or Jim or someone at Coast Charities, which we can put them in contact with, and if they qualify, certainly Coast Charities is there to help them.
Yeah. So if somebody can't make it, like I've got an event on Saturday, not going to be able to come, can we make a monetary donation? How does somebody help if they're not able to buy a ticket for the event?
Absolutely. And, we've sent out some letters to members of the community. They have responded extremely generously. We have a very, very generous community here.
Yeah, we do.
And it's remarkable the amount of response that we get from those letters.
Yeah.
And yes, if they want to donate, they can contact myself or Jim Deneen and get a check to us. They can make it out to Coast Charities. That evening, we will be presenting many checks to Coast Charities made out to them from members of this community.
Cool. Jim, what do? Do you sit there that night, and as people leave, you turn them upside down and shake their money, make sure they got it? What do you do? What's your job?
My hand out.
You do? Is that what you do? You stand at the door and hold your hand out and smile?
Well, basically that's what I've been doing
Okay.
For several years. But health-wise, this year has been very slow for me, and I regret not being able to do more. But I enjoy doing it, and as no one knows but a few people, the KCs have tried since 1984 to get me to become a member of the KCs. But they haven't quite made it yet.
Those are you looking for a better offer, or do you have an agent? I mean, you negotiating a contract? What are you doing?
They've been after me, like I said. All of them. I consider them family. And that's when I joined RISOC, was 1984.
Okay.
And that's when I was asked by the president of RISOC, Jim, will you take over helping children? So since 1984, anytime I get a call, and I've never in all that time had one child or a family turned down since 1984.
Well, I know you guys do great work, and Joe Prather is here with us, and I know, Joe, are you the bouncer? Is that what your job is? No, actually, no, I know what your job is. I just want to have fun with you. We got a house that we're doing something with. There's proceeds from a house going to be given to the charity as well?
My friend Jerry Phillips, I watched him grow up. I lived in Vine Grove for many years, and I was a realtor and auctioneer there, and then I ended up in the banking business. And so when Jerry was just starting out building, he banked with me, and we helped him, and he helped us by paying his debts in a timely way. So I got to be really good friends with him. So he came to me one day, and he had this idea. He said, Debbie, who's his wife, said, we've talked about wanting to help Coast Charities. He said back several years ago, Coast was very good to my granddaughter when she had some real medical issues, and I want to return that favor. And I said, well, let me float an idea with you. I said, you have the Brotherhood Banquet here with the KCs and the Shriners, and So he had told me, he said, I'd like to build a house and let the net profit from that to go to Corsair. And so anyway, I told him, I said, well, let me call my friend Tom Clark. He'll know what we need to do. And I knew, of course, Tom was involved, Jim, as you have been over the years. And so we started a dialogue, and the end result was that Jerry built a house out at the edge of town, out by the airport, and he normally expects on a house to maybe make 15,000-20,000. Well, he was all in for giving that part of it to the Brotherhood Banquet for so that they could add that to what they raised. And then in addition to that, he went about talking to some of his suppliers. He uses a lot of small business people who do a lot of the subcontract work for him, and some of them, gave him a discount of anywhere from $100 to $300, $400, $500. And Janet Perkins, who's a local realtor here, agreed that she would sell the house, and whatever commission she received, she would not take. She would let that go toward the total. And, there were some others. Camelsville Overhead Door Company agreed. I think they gave the windows for the house. Win Nelson and I know Jeff Clark. Tom knows him well. He was very generous. There are SRM Concrete, people like this. I'm going to leave somebody out, but there will be, I think there'll be a list of those available, I think, for people to see at the Brotherhood Banquet. But it gets back to the what the total is, and I talked to Jerry an hour or so before I came down here, and he said, "You're used to being before the cameras. You just speak for me." And so I said, "Well, what's going to be the net, Jerry?" And he said, "Well, it appears that where I give my profit and I give the discounts that I've gotten from the suppliers, that we're going to be able to write a check to the Brotherhood Banquet cause for $35,000.
Wow.
So what a wonderful idea from some wonderful people. And Jerry Phillips and Debbie and his entire family, they have 4 wonderful children and grandchildren. They're family people, and they believe in giving back to a community that is given to them. And so I had an interest beyond that, though, Greg. As Jim has mentioned earlier, being the chairman of the Heartland Moral Health Foundation Board, we have seen firsthand just what Corsair does as far as giving back to the community, and through the efforts that the KCs and the Shriners have given. And the neonatal intensive care unit, we've needed that here in this community forevermore, because people were having to travel great distances, and people who have usually babies, infants that are born and need a neonatal unit. A lot of times they have other small children that they need to care for, and it makes it really difficult for them to travel to Louisville or some other place for neonatal intensive care for their infants. So this has been a real godsend for the community, and I think I'll have a number. I think that Tracy Trout has asked me to share with everyone Saturday night, but it's up in the hundreds of babies that we have seen come through the neonatal unit. And a great part of that has to do with the support we've gotten from Corsair that has been to help equip that with state-of-the-art equipment. So I'm here to show pride for a couple of different reasons, but also to let everyone know that Jerry Phillips said you're free to tell them that there'll be 35,000 coming.
Wow, that's awesome. And you know, as you were mentioning, those the subcontractors that were part of that, and not wanting to leave them out, knowing how this community is, they're really not about that. They're about just making a difference. And that's one of the things this segment is called Powering the Heartland, because it's the people of this heartland that are powering this community. And it's not, you know, you guys are the forefront in putting the planning together for this charity event and raising money, but you have all these other people as well who are giving their time, giving their talents, and giving their money that really make a difference, that help kids and help people in our community. So,
well, this is a can-do community. I mean, that's the attitude, and you find that from being all over the state when I was in the state senate and traveling this state as when I presided over the senate and going to all 120 counties. You could just see that when you came home that we compared with the top rung of counties around Kentucky who were can-do people. And we're a diverse community. We're an open arm community. I often say that anyone who comes to Hardin County who is well-meaning and has been here more than 30 days is considered a local. And we practice what we preach here. This is a wonderful community, and it always has been. I lived here as a young teenager in the early 50s, and it was much smaller then. But even in that day, I mean, you had things going on for the betterment of the community, and so. It's with pride that I talk about Elizabethtown and Hardin County as the place to live and a place I call home.
Yeah, it is a great place. I know, Tom, you have some sponsors that you want to mention as well, because you couldn't do this without having sponsors to help foot the bill.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Greg. And you know what Joe was saying just speaks to the generosity of this community. Mm-hmm. We've known that for a long time, and without sponsors and folks that wanted to step forward and help out in this event, it wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So the Knights and the Shriners are very proud of the fact that they're able to spearhead this for the community. And with that, I would like to thank some of our sponsors, if it's okay with you.
Sure.
There, Greg.
Perfectly okay.
We have 10 corporate sponsors that have stepped forward and agreed to be sponsors for this year's event. Stanley Steamer. We have the Swope family of dealerships, the Cecilia Bank, Phillips Homes, South Central Bank, Clark Jewelers, the Luss Corporation, Schuler Bauer, Hardin Memorial Health, and Hartledge Management. And in addition to them, special thanks go to Hub City Printing, who did most of the printing for this event, mm-hmm. And to E-Town Laundry Company, who provides all the linens for the event. And then a very special thank you to E-Town Florist. Danelle and Brandon Fogel are new owners there, mm-hmm. and doing a wonderful job with their.
Well, Danelle is. Brandon's probably not doing much.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He probably doesn't need to touch any flowers. Let's just be honest.
But at any rate, they're providing all the floral and table decorations for the event. We are certainly very, very appreciative of their generosity in that.
Good. Well, just to recap a little bit, the Brotherhood Banquet is this Saturday, March 9th. Doors open at 6. Dinner is at 7 o'clock. $40 per person. You can get a table of 8 for $500. And Jim's going to be at the door signing autographs and kissing women that want to make a. That's probably fake news, isn't it? Right?
That's fake news.
Okay. Well, I was trying for you. Boy, you know what? Out of the two couches, I think we're the best looking couch. No offense, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. I mean, they're nice looking.
You know what?
But
we would agree with that.
yeah, but look at that. I mean, we look good. I'll tell you. All right, good stuff. Well, hey, thank you guys. I appreciate you coming in. This is what it's about, powering the Heartland, sharing the stories, and letting people make a difference, letting people come out and support charities and support kids and support this community. So I appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank you very much for having us, Greg.
All right, one question for you, Joe. I've always wanted to know this. When you leave your house and you drive somewhere, do you say, hey, honey, I'm going to go drive on me?
You know what?
Because you got your own road. I wondered, I always say, hey, I'm going on Joe Prather. Do you go, I got to go down me?
You know what? I believe it or not, people get amused because I say, well, I'm going to go out and get on 313 and go somewhere.
You don't even use it?
No.
Man, I would use that all the time.
I don't want to be pretentious.
I'd say it all the time. I'm saying, honey, I'm going to go drive down on me.
My mother, one thing she taught me, she said, don't get above your raising.
There you go. We'll wrap it up with that. This is Kentucky's Heartland, powering the Heartland. Visit us anytime at kentuckysheartland.com.